Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at Moonriver finally. I do want to say that I'm not a financial advisor. You should do your own research before investing money into crypto. Now, taking a look at the daily chart. You can see that we're getting very overextended from this bottom that we printed October 20th. We went up 127%. Right now we're sitting 80% up. And as you can see, the EMA is closely following the price, and the price keeps bouncing off the 20 EMA. So the 20 EMA is a good entry point if you still don't have any tokens, and for some reason you haven't been buying in this consolidation period that we had for, since June 2023, essentially all the way to October. This was an amazing time to be accumulating. That's what we were doing on Patreon. That's what my subscribers were doing if you were watching my videos. But now that we got the breakout, everyone suddenly wants Moonriver TA, and that's because they weren't buying here and the price went up. Obviously not everyone, but that's usually what happens. People are too scared to buy at these prices, but when there is a breakout, which we were expecting because we drew this falling wedge here and we had a very nice breakout. And when the breakout happens, they get too bullish and they think the price will leave without them. Now, what we also did here is we wicked into the golden pocket, which is between $8.44 and $7.83 based on this Fibonacci retracement that we have with the fibs to the downside. So from the high in February down to the low in January this year, we retraced back down to the 1.618, $4.13. Insanely great entry point. That was a great entry point. You're up 58% from that entry point if you got in at the price that I gave you, because we were looking at this price for months and months. Now what we can do right now is we can remove that fib and we can set up a different one from the current bear market low, which is, or not the bear market low, but the current low, because essentially this is your technical bear market low, but October 2023 up to the high in February. So what is happening right now is we are running into the 0.5 as resistance, which is expected. That's a very, very strong level, and that's where the golden pocket essentially starts, all the way up to the golden ratio, which is $7.53. So a pullback down to this white support trend line, which previously was our resistance, is something that I would be expecting. So a move back down here, that would maybe take us down to $5.20. That's something that you can potentially target if you really want to enter and wait. Personally, anything below $6 is a great entry point in my opinion. I've been saying that for ages. My average buying price, I think, is around $6 and something. I can't even remember at this point. It's between 6 and 8. I think it's $6.60, to be honest with you. I think that's my average buying price. So I'm almost, sitting at zero essentially. And are we going to get a pullback from here or a stronger pullback, let's say back to the 0.236? That all depends on how Bitcoin behaves. So if we have a major pullback and altcoins are going to start dropping like crazy, then definitely Moonriver is not going to be standing alone, and it's going to start dropping. So 27% down to $4.83 would still not be the worst thing. If we are going to be coming back down to the white trend line, maybe we wick down to the 0.236, sweep the buy limit orders from there, and then have a move to the upside, because what we're looking for here is we want to start printing a higher low, right? We want this uptrend to be fruitful and to be healthy. So we printed a high which broke this local high and broke this local high. Now we want to print a low that's higher than the previous one. From there we print a high that's higher than the previous one, and so on and so forth. So going below $4.80, that would not be the ideal situation. If that does happen, you still have the blue trend line here that we broke as resistance, and we've held it as resistance for many, many months. So we finally broke above it in November, and we're going to be coming back down potentially to retest it. So you have a few levels between $5.20 down to $4.40 that you could potentially retest before the next leg up. And then again, we don't know if we are done with this move to the upside. So if we're going to continue seeing large wicks like this, you could potentially take advantage of that. So if you're not staking your tokens and you know how to swing trade, you're not emotionally vulnerable like a lot of people are and most people are, and you potentially want to set up a limit order here and take profit at $9 and 15 cents. So 151, don't have round numbers in your limit orders, keep that in mind. And you sell there and then you buy back, let's say at $6.50. If you are able to do that, that's great. A nice 30% trade for you. You can buy in cheaper 30%. But don't do that with your entire stack. Be careful, because keep in mind, this is still a low cap. You could start pumping and you could get absolutely crazy. And on the daily RSI, you can see we were sitting in the overbought actually here, almost at the index of 90, which is when we started pumping on November 7th. Then we had a nice retracement back to the 20 EMA, and then we had another move to the upside to $8.13. So let's jump into the weekly chart to see what's going on there. And before we continue with the video, I quickly want to mention my Patreon that's linked down below in the description. If you enjoy my content, you want to get more exclusive content, and you want to support me at the same time, definitely feel free to check out the Patreon, because you're going to get a 7-day free access on my Patreon and an instant access to all of my content since October 2021, which is when I started. You'll get access to content like exclusive weekly podcasts, and we're starting to invite guests already. We have 40 plus low cap gem posts. We have a bunch of project reviews. We have a bunch of resources that are going to help you save time and make more money with this upcoming bull market. So this is definitely a great exchange of value for the both of us. And once again, there's a 7-day free trial. Feel free to check it out. You can leave anytime, and let's continue with the video. Taking a look at the weekly chart, as you can see, we are running into a resistance level here. So if you were paying attention and you set up all of these trend lines that we had, you can see we had a bounce off of this trend line in December last year, and then in May last year, or actually in May this year, and then we dumped in June 2023, and we capitulated down to $4, or rather $3.60, whatever the price was. And now, once we've lost this support level, it becomes resistance, right? So what you're doing here is you're coming back up, you are retesting that level as resistance, and from there, you're going to have another retracement back down. So if you're targeting the weekly chart here, then your optimal entry point is going to be the 20 EMA, which is currently sitting at $5.16, a rather good entry point, especially if you don't have any tokens yet. And if you still don't have any tokens, then you really have been missing out with this pullback here. You should have been accumulating, guys. I can't stress that enough. And if you are able to catch the next wave down, and for some reason we go even lower than this low, right? Anything can happen. If that does end up happening, let's assume that was to happen. Your technical targets down would be $3.38, $3, and $2.75. Because as of right now, I can't really tell you that the bear market low has been printed unless we start breaking above $18.24. So from where we are right now, we still have a 172% to the upside before we can actually start saying that the bear market low has been printed, because you have to start breaking through major resistance levels. And this essentially is what sent us into this pullback here, into this final stage of the pullback. We had the dump after the Luna crash, then we had the retracement, $18.24. That is exactly what sent us down here. So we want to break above that, and you can even set up a Fibonacci retracement from here to that level there, and just take a look at your potential targets to the upside. If we are looking long term, we have this massive resistance block above us between $44 and $85, and then of course we can start taking a look at $100 to $200 for a for profit taking, if that's what you're looking to do at those levels. And depending on how well Polkadot 2.0 plays out, maybe we're even going to go higher than the current all-time high that we have. But keep in mind, the supply has been increased by a lot, so the market cap is going to have to be much larger if we're going to be coming back up to $500. So potentially look into taking profits, starting at $100 and then $150, $200, and so on and so forth. But As you can see, we're running into this resistance level here. We're getting a bit of volume coming in. So once something like this happens, we're just looking for a nice retracement and then a continuation of the trend, because we broke out of this massive falling wedge, and I'm expecting the target to be met. So $11.33, incredible price for you to take some profits at, and maybe, you know, put those profits into different coins, maybe buy back in on the next retracement, whatever you want to do with it. But this is going to be a really good target for you, because that is where the wedge was created. And unless we invalidate this entire thing and we just dump down, right, that invalidates this entire falling wedge, and we no longer are targeting $11.33. And if we take a look at the weekly RSI, as you can see, we had a massive move to the upside. I was telling you that below 35 on the index is a great entry point. We did get below there just briefly. The stochastic hasn't reached the overbought yet, so maybe there's just a bit left in the tank. Maybe we have one last short little squeeze to the upside and we get to maybe $9, $10, who knows, and then we start rolling over. So when the stochastic is all the way down here, that is where you want to be buying, right? Because that means the asset is oversold on the weekly time frame, which is a major time frame. So if that happens and you are able to catch this once again, feel free to start looking into buying more Moonriver tokens. But that is it for this video. I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for your requests. We keep covering Moonriver on Tuesday every single week. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Goodbye.